Hello amazing people, Hazel Bulubisi here. Welcome back to my channel. In this channel we navigate through life by talking about our personal life experiences, and sometimes we also have some travel videos and also videos in regards to medicine. So if that's what you're into, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so as to be notified whenever I upload new videos. So before we start today, as you can see, I have a new intro video, which I'm really excited and happy about. It was done by someone known as Brian Ongaki. I'm going to put his Instagram name here on the screen so you see it. And I'm also going to leave his website in the description box. So if you're interested in anything to do with video editing, making intro videos, things to do with graphic design, web design, make sure to reach out to him. He does a pretty good job. Okay, so now we can start. So today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. It's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while because this year I feel like it's something I've been really dealing with and I haven't known how to deal with it. And after doing some research on it and seeing what it is, because before I don't think I even put a name onto that feeling because I didn't know what it was. I mean, I heard about imposter syndrome, but I didn't necessarily look it up or see what it means or what it was. So after dealing with these feelings for quite some time and not knowing what it was, not knowing that there was a certain name for it and there was an explanation towards it, I was really sad. I don't know if sad is the word, but it was just a feeling of doubtfulness. I still am, I think. I don't think I've really overcome it. It's something, I've been going through a lot, and I figured let's talk about it and see how it goes, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way, where you struggle to get up in the morning, you don't know how you're going to get through the day, and then you doubt everything you're doing, you doubt all the things you've been able to overcome in the past, and you doubt that you've worked hard to reach where you are now. And it just seems like you've been lucky and stuff, and you don't understand why or how all this happened. And now you're at this point where you feel like you can't do it. And you keep on doubting yourself and comparing yourself to other people, So it's the worst feeling ever. And I figured probably talking about it would help me personally, and it would also help and it would also help other people, because I'm sure there are other people who feel like me who are at this point and they don't know what to do about it. And I was like, okay, if we open up and talk about it, probably it's nice to know, as I always say, it's nice to know that you're not alone in this struggle, and you know that, okay, there's someone also who's going through something similar like me. And so, that's how I came up with this topic about talking about imposter syndrome. So I'd first start by defining it. I googled the definition really, but practically in my words, I'd say imposter syndrome it's not a disease. It's something that people go through where you're actively doubting yourself and feeling like you can't make it through this life, or feeling like all the achievements you've overcome or all the achievements you've made so far, like you don't deserve them and stuff like that. But anyway, let's read. According to Google, it says imposter syndrome refers to an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. While this definition is usually narrow, applied to intelligence and achievement, it has links to some perfectionism and some social context. And as I said here, I don't think it necessarily only talks about in relation to, I guess, your career choice or in relation to what you're studying in school, but it also comes in the sense of among friends. If you're sitting among a friendship group and you feel like you're not the best friend, you feel like you're not good at being a friend, or amongst things like in the family, if you compare yourself to a certain family member and you feel like, oh my gosh, this person is achieving all these things, what am I doing with my life, And just all these different contexts of your life, you feel this way, and it's not really the best feeling, especially when you're alone and you don't know what to do about it. So I continue to read and say, as I had mentioned before, I said imposter syndrome is not a disease per se, because it's not recognized in the DSM-5, which is the diagnostic. I can't remember the full form. What is it called? It's a book for mental disorders, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which doctors use to diagnose a certain mental disorder. So imposter syndrome is not regarded as a mental disorder, but it's just regarded as something most people go through at some point in their lives where they are doubtful of themselves and they don't know what to do about it. So it's common. Let's start from there. It's something common. It's something we all go through. So if you're going through it, don't feel like there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Even the highest of highest people doubt themselves at some point in their life or feel like they're not worthy at some point. But what matters is, what are you doing about it? Are you just sitting and wallowing in that feeling and letting it stop you and hold you back from pursuing your dreams and chasing whatever it is, or pursuing a good friendship or pursuing a good relationship with your family? Or are you actually trying to work towards it and get yourself out of that rut and make yourself feel better and actually achieve what you want to achieve, you know? So I guess I'd start by giving my version of my imposter syndrome, or rather why I'd say I've been feeling like this of late. I don't know. I guess right now where I'm at, I guess this year, I'd say, I mean, from, if you're a regular person, you know, from like my old videos, I like sharing my personal experiences. And you'd know that in one of my videos I shared about, in one of my talks regarding my videos or my podcasts, I've shared about my struggles of living here. And I've also shared about how 2020 was really hard for me in terms of mental health. And, you know, starting 2021, I thought, okay, it'll be good and stuff. And I thought I'd have control of all the aspects of my life. But, I mean, academically, right now, I think I've been dealing with stuff where I'm feeling like I'm so doubtful of myself that it's gotten to the point where it's affecting my school life. Because I've been so scared to actually take an exam that I haven't taken an exam for almost a whole year now. All in the name of fear. And I really don't know. I don't even know how I got to this point. But it's just that whole imposter syndrome of waking up, comparing yourself to the people who are on track with their exams, comparing yourself to people who seem to have life together and stuff, and you feeling so doubtful of yourself and feeling like you're a fraud, because I'm at a point where, of course, everyone around me is really proud because, yes, I'm a med student. Being a med student comes with those perks. But then people don't notice how much it's such a struggle and how much it is to just be able to pick yourself up and be able to push through things and, you know, hold yourself okay and be at a good mental health, like have good mental health at that point. And you see, even I was reading this article where there's a lady who actually committed suicide in the parking of the Kenyatta hospital. And I was so sad because she was a medic. And I'm like, even in Kenya, do people really care about the medical health workers? Because so many people are going through depression, anxiety. So many people are struggling with mental health. And, you know, it seems like no one cares because, one, doctors are always talking about not being paid. Doctors are always talking about not having... what is it called? Like working in hospitals that don't have enough... why has the word gone? Hospitals that don't have enough what? Hey, imeenda. Okay, anyway, what I'm saying, where doctors are talking about where they're struggling, they're not getting paid, they don't have enough equipment or enough things that they need to work so as to treat the patient. You see some hospitals don't even have enough medicine and stuff. And you see, that's hard. That's hard on a person because, one, if I have the capabilities to treat you and I know what I need to do to help you, and then it turns out it's just that I don't have the things around me so that I can help you, and I watch you die, of course it's going to affect me mentally, you know? And stuff like that. So we see that Not many people talk about mental health. Of course, these days there are many discussions pushing towards it. We need to check up on our fellow med students because I feel like many people expect so much from us. Like the society at large expects us to be, they just think we are okay because, we know how to handle things. We are known to be smart because we study a lot. But the truth is, it's the workload. It's just learning how to balance the workload and stuff. But then sometimes it gets tough and someone reaches a point where they're doubting themselves. They're doubting, will I be able to do this? Can I be able to finish med school? Is this worth all the pain and all the mental struggle I'm going through? And I think this year is the year where I reached that point because I don't know really. I think I've been struggling in terms of exams because I'm just so scared. Like if you ask me why I'm scared, I can't even say, but I'm just at a point where I'm just so terrified that I can't even take myself up to enter an exam room and actually sit for an exam. And so it's been something I've been dealing with and something where I think now it's starting to affect like my other aspects of life because I said, as we're talking about imposter syndrome, I've become very doubtful of myself in terms of even my side work in the sense of doing podcasts and doing YouTube that I just started this year and stuff. I'm like, will I ever be good enough like other people are? Or will I ever reach that point where you're at your peak and stuff and you're known to be, this person is very good at what they do, Will I ever be a good doctor? Because sometimes you wake up, you're like, okay, do I know? Am I like this person? Why can't I remember things as fast like this person? Or why can't I just be as confident as this person in the way they speak, such things. And I think it's been a struggle because one, I've never talked about it because how do you even start talking about it? I don't know. I find it really hard. Two, I've not known what to do about it. And I feel like even the attempts, I tried talking about it. And, it just seems like people maybe don't understand. They're just like, oh, you can do it. You're smart and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm trying to share with you my struggle, but you just keep on dismissing it, So I think, it's gotten to that point where I was like, okay, let's do a video about this and talk and see, am I the only one going through such things? Are there other people who are also going through this and don't know what to do? And what are they doing about it? So anyway, as I was doing my research, I saw that in imposter syndrome, there's this thing called the spotlight effect or the ignorance of pluralism, which is one. The spotlight effect talks about where you think that the spotlight is on you. So you think that everything you're going through or whatever is in your life is just you. And you think that everyone is watching your life and everyone is seeing when you make a mistake, people notice. Or when you do this, people are watching. But then you come to realize that's not the reality. Everyone is bothered with their life. Everyone has their struggles in their life. Everyone has whatever they're working towards, And, they're not paying that much attention into what you're doing in your life. The much attention that you're paying to yourself, someone next to you really isn't paying that much attention and probably will not notice what you're going through. So if you don't talk about it, no one will know. And then I think that's where, or rather, I don't know how to put it. That's what I've been thinking. Because I always assume if I'm going through a hard patch, I assume my friends know about it. But I realize they don't because they're bothered with their life. They're not really bothered with theirs at the moment. But if you actually open up and tell them, okay, this is what has been happening and I don't know how to deal with it, then probably someone will come and try and help where they can. So one, that's a spotlight effect. Two, the ignorance of pluralism is where, because you're at this point of your life where you're struggling and you're going through hard stuff, and let's say, give an example with me struggling with school and not knowing what to do and feels like you're the only one struggling. You assume you're the only one struggling, but the other people around you are also having their own struggles. You may be struggling with school. Maybe someone else is perfect at school because when it comes to home, there's something they're struggling with at home. And so books are their escape, and probably that's why they're able to be so good, That's just an example. And so there's that thought of when you're struggling, and that's where the imposter syndrome comes in, because you're struggling with this, you're saying, oh, I'm not so good, oh, I can't do this, why is this happening to me? And then you assume the other person who is showing you this perfect life also has no struggles, like has nothing, so they're very perfect. But you don't notice they're probably thinking the same thoughts you're thinking. They're also like, why am I struggling with this? Why am I not good enough? And stuff like that. And this just comes to show each and every one of us are in this struggle. We all have our different struggles. Maybe it'll present itself as something different, not similar to the other one, but there's a struggle in each and every one of us. And when you get to that point where you're struggling and you're saying, okay, I'm not good enough and so is more better than me and stuff, just because they are not showing you they are not good enough doesn't mean that they also don't have their struggle. And that should help you overcome imposter syndrome in one way or another, because you're not the only one with self-doubt. You're not the only one who feels, some days you wake up and feel like a fraud, like, oh, maybe I'm not as good enough as people think. You're not the only one who has self-doubt thoughts and stuff like that. I think it happens to everyone. And even with reading books and watching videos and seeing these things, the number one thing they say to counter imposter syndrome is to actually talk about it. Because the moment you open your mouth and say, okay, this is how I've been feeling like I can't do this because I'm doubting myself too much. And now that I'm feeling like I can't do this, it's really weighing me down to the extent that I'm not even working towards my dream anymore. Like I've given up. The moment you open your mouth and say that, you'll realize someone will come and be like, okay, yeah, I've also been going through the same thing and blah, blah, blah. I've been feeling like this as well. So, you're not alone. How can we work towards it? What can I do to help you? And then you figure out a way to help each other out. Because I think the moment you talk about it, it removes you from that bubble of feeling like I'm the only one, I'm alone, I don't know what to do. No one wants to help me. How am I supposed to deal with this? To where you're able to burst that bubble open and find solutions to your problems, or solutions to help you stop feeling this way, or help you work towards your goals in a different way that makes you feel better, or makes you, be less doubtful of yourself. So I think the moment you open up and share and say, okay, I'm not okay, or rather, I'm at this phase of my life where I'm really doubting everything I do, or I'm doubting all the things I've ever achieved, and I feel like I can't do this because who will believe what I'm doing, or who will support my work, or who will be able to stand by me and say, oh, you're good, you're fine. Talk about it. Open up, ask someone, talk to a friend. If you don't have a friend, which I think everyone has a friend, look for professional help. I mean, as I said, it's not a mental disorder. It's something we all go through. And I think the moment you realize that it's something even the person seated next to you is going through, it's one step, because it makes you feel more better. Because they're like, okay, one, I'm not in this alone. Two, if you're able to find someone who's willing to sit and listen and understand, that helps with it a bit, because at least, okay, you feel, okay, I'm not alone, I'm not depressed, I'm not feeling, like I'm in this alone. So if you find someone who doesn't dismiss it as, it's okay, you're going to get through it, but someone who actually will sit and listen and maybe help you come up with pointers or come up with things that will make you feel better, then that's good. Don't be afraid to talk about it, because it's something we are all going through. It's something at some point in our lives we'll go through. And I feel like it's not something that you'll go through it only once. It's something that will progressively happen at each aspect of your life. At a point where you feel like everything is going okay, then boom, it hits you like, oh, okay, what do I do now, So, yeah, talk about it. Two, realize that what I was talking about, the spotlight effect and the pluralism ignorance. Once you realize that that exists and that the world is just not about you, and that as much as in our heads it feels like it's me and everyone is just watching me, the moment you realize that's not the case, I think that helps a bit, because you're able to realize that, one, even if you make a mistake, it's okay, because not everyone is watching you to criticize your mistake. So you'll make this mistake, but what matters is, are you able to pick yourself up from that mistake and say, and acknowledge the fact that, yes, I made this mistake and it made me feel this way, but now I've learned from it and I'm able to move past it and go and continue walking towards what I'm aiming for? Or are you the person who will just sit and wallow in that mistake and just feel bad all the time? 3, what else can I say? I mean, it's scary. We're all filled with fear about something. Be it the phobias where you fear insects or fear something, or be it just fear of failure in life or fear of, not being good enough. I guess we all have that. It's just that people don't talk about it much. And that's why, as I always say, that's why I always started this channel, because I really wanted somewhere where you can just open up and talk about, okay, this is what I'm going through now, or this is what I've been going through for a couple of months, and I don't know what to do about it. So what do you think I should do about it? Or I don't know what to do about it. Am I alone in this? Or is there someone who out there who understands what I'm going through and can give me and tell me, okay, I've been through this before. This is what you do, this and this and this, So yeah, I think that's why I wanted to talk about it. And I really can't think of anything else right now. It's just a matter of speaking about being at a point in life where you feel like you doubt yourself for everything that you do. Like everything that you do, even if it comes out good, you're still doubtful that, oh, there'll be something bad to it, or, oh, there'll be a bad outcome. But all in all, you should know that that's not always the case. And I feel like, especially for people who really criticize themselves a lot, or who really are very strong on themselves, sometimes it may not be good, because you're very strict towards yourself, but you're not giving yourself the time or the praise where it's deserved. Like, think about it. If you're at a point right now where you're doubting yourself so much and you're feeling like, I can't do this, how can I do this? Or how far have I gotten this far? Why are people seeing like I'm good and I feel like I'm not good enough? Think about it in the sense that all those other years you've struggled. And even at that point, if you look in the past, I'm sure there's a point in your life you are feeling like you couldn't do it. But you made it. You pushed through and you made it. And here you are now. This is another rough patch you're at, where you feel like you can't do it. But the reality is you really can. It's just that sometimes your head will lie to you and it'll make you really doubtful of yourself. It'll make you feel like, oh, okay, fine, maybe I got through that other time, it was luck, but now what about now? It'll bring all these negative connotations. But are you going to let your mind take control of you, or are you going to control your mind? So it's just about, I guess, surrounding yourself with positivity. It's not easy all the time, I understand, because even me at this point where I'm at now, I feel like I'm really alone. My family is miles away. And, they're always the ones who keep me in check. Not all the time everyone will understand. There are certain times your friends will understand and your family won't. There are certain times your family will understand and your friends won't. There are certain times you'll have different friends from different backgrounds. There are those who will understand and those who won't, So yeah, you go through things and you feel like, okay, I don't know how to deal with this. But the reality is, around you, there are always people who love you, and there are always people who will be willing to drop everything and listen to you and help you, even if it's just to help you feel better on that day. There are those people who will be there. So it's just for you to identify who are those people in my life, to identify who will be willing to sit with you when you're struggling, and not just people who are only want to be around you when you're happy and everything is going well and you're prosperous, but the people who will sit beside you when you doubt yourself, when you feel like you can't take any more of life and you feel like, okay, I've reached the end. So I guess it's important to identify those people in your life. And I think also it's important to also you be that person to someone in their life. Because I feel like where we've reached, as I always say, we're growing up And our friendships are not the same. They're not what they used to be. Everyone has what they're dealing with. And sometimes you'll go such long times without even speaking to your friend. And you just assume everything is well because you see on social media they seem okay. Or, wherever you may interact with them, or if you text, they seem okay. But, you don't really go deep and down and ask, okay, are you really okay? What has been going on in your life and stuff? So I think it's time we as individuals, make sure you're being a good friend, in the sense that you're able to check up on your people and you're able to see how is their life going, what is going on in their life. Because they may be going through some things they're not willing to talk about. And even this whole imposter syndrome issue where they're not willing to talk about it. And someone is struggling and they don't know what to do. So sometimes you as a person probably should initiate and see and try. We all know our friends, the way the dynamics works, or our family, how someone works. Probably there are those people who will be very open and come and say, okay, this is what is going on. I'm struggling with this and this and this. Then there are those people who barely open up unless you really insist. So it's just a matter of knowing how your relationship with a certain person works and knowing how to work about it or go about it. Anyway, I feel like I've mixed up a lot of things, but my point was to just discuss about imposter syndrome, to let you know that you're not alone. I've given you my examples that there are times you reach your life where you're struggling, but the important thing is to just push through. It's easier said than done. It's easy to lock yourself in your room and sleep the whole day feeling bad for yourself and feeling bad that you're alone and no one is there to help you. But the point is, at the end of the day, as much as you may hate to hear it, your hands are in your future. So it depends on what you do. And that will now determine how far you go. We're in this together. We all struggle. But remember to pick yourself up when no one seems to be there. And it feels like a struggle to be like you're alone. I mean, I don't know if watching this video will help. Watch it again to know that you're not alone. There are many people going through this. I'm going through this. You're probably going through this. Other 100 people are probably going through this. But what matters is push through. Push through, however difficult it is. Go. There's this saying, I keep on repeating. I've been repeating it to myself right now because it feels like that moment where it says, something will pass. It may pass as a kidney stone, but it will pass. That's the point. Because a kidney stone is really painful and tough. But once it passes, it's gone. And you're past that point of your life. So yes, you're at this point where probably it feels like a kidney stone is going through your, what are they called? Your ureters or something. Maybe, let me not go into medicine. But it feels like a kidney stone. It's painful. It's hard. What matters is you push through it, however hard it may be to get out of bed and do what needs to be done. Because it's just your mind playing tricks on you and you feeling sad or you feeling like you can't do it and doubting yourself. And yet, looking from the past and at all your achievements, you know what you're capable of doing. So don't let any negative connotations or anything get to you. Just push through. And always, if you're at a point where you feel like you can't do it anymore, make sure you talk to someone. It doesn't matter who it is, just find someone to talk to. That's usually the first step to getting help or to finding a solution, because you'll realize, as big as it feels in your head, it feels like it's such a big problem. But when you talk to someone, they have a solution. They're like, oh, or they look at it in a different way that you weren't looking at it. So it makes you realize that, okay, it's not as big as I make it seem to be. And it's even the same for us, when you're talking about something, or when you want to teach someone something, or when you're learning about something, when it comes to the whole point of self-doubt, in your head you feel like, oh, this is so obvious, this person should know. But then the moment you speak up and say, they're so wowed by it, or they're so amazed by it, because they're like, I never knew this, I didn't think this could happen and stuff. And you realize, oh, For you, what is obvious, for someone else, it's not obvious. You always have something to teach someone. So don't be afraid to speak up, because one, you may get a lesson from someone who you didn't know, or two, you may speak up thinking it's something obvious, but then you realize for someone else it's not. All I encourage you is to speak up. Don't let your doubts eat your mind or eat you up. And all I can tell you is you can do this. You've gotten this far. You can push. Yes, it's that kidney stone, but it'll pass. So I think that's it for today. I'd tell you, leave your comments down below if there are moments in your life where you've struggled with imposter syndrome. What did you do to overcome it? And if there's just anything else you may want to talk about and share, do share it. And of course, don't forget to like this video if it was helpful and informative. And yeah, let's open up and speak up about these things. That's it for this week. Have a lovely week. Bye.